B-Knocks.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to B-KnockzTV. Sorry it's been a while since I posted, but here we go. Today, we're going to talk about the legend of Oakland, the dude that never stops rapping, Too Short. He got his start in the early 80s with releases like Don't Stop Rapping in 83, Players in 85, Raw, Uncut, and X-Rated in 86, and Born to Mac in 87, which was my introduction to Too Short. This album had classic songs like Mac Attack, Freaky Tales, and Dope Fiend Beat. Now before I get started, this is a part 1 where I'm only going to cover his 90s run. Part 2 will come later where I'll cover his 2000s era. No need to keep you waiting. Let's get it. We gonna kick it off with Life Is Too Short. Originally released in 1988 under Dangerous Music and re-released in 1989 through Jive Records. This album is his most successful album to date as it went double platinum. Production was handled by Ted Bohannon, Alex Eaton, and Too Short himself. It had 9 tracks and 1 outro. My standouts: Life Is Too Short, I Ain't Trippin', Nobody Does It Better, Oakland, Don't Fight the Feeling, featuring Danger Zone and Rappin' Forte. Side note, this song was my introduction to Rappin' Forte. And City of Dope. On September 11th, 1990, Too Short dropped Short Dogs in the House. Now, this was another album that my uncle had when I was a kid that I got my hands on. He had it on cassette tape, y'all. Cassette tape. Remember those? This was the album that made me a fan. Production on this one was handled by Alex Eaton, Too Short, Keenan Foster, Pierre James, Sir Jinx, and DJ Pooh. This album has some of my favorite Too Short songs ever made. 12 tracks, 1 outro. My standouts: Short Dogs in the House. This song is still a knocker. It's Your Life. This was also featured on the Boys in the Hood soundtrack. The Ghetto, classic song, timeless record. Short but Funky, one of my favorite Too Short songs ever made. In the Oaktown, Punk B, gotta keep it clean. Ain't Nothing But a Word to Me, featuring Ice Cube. Now this song was by far my favorite highlight from this album when I was young. This song is the one I played the most. Hard on the Boulevard, another knocker. Pimpology, and Rap Like Me. Next up, we got Shorty the Pimp, released July 14th, 1992. Now I'm gonna keep it clean. This album cover is what sold me because it stood out to me back in the day. But this is the one that disappointed me. Shorty the Pimp is probably my least favorite Too Short album. It just never hit for me. It had a few songs I liked, and I'll mention them shortly. Production was handled by Too Short, Ant Banks, and Dwayne Wiggins. Now that's a cold lineup, so I'm not quite sure what made this album stale to me. Leave it in the comments where you rank this album. 10 tracks, 1 intro, 1 outro. My standouts: In the Trunk, No Love from Oakland, I Wanna Be Free, So You Wanna Be a Gangster, and Something to Ride To, featuring Ant Banks, Pooh Man, and Goldie. Now here's where things start heating up. Get In Where You Fit In, released October 26, 1993. This album is a staple in my Too Short Rolodex. If I remember correctly, this was my first album that my mom let me buy, but it was the clean version, and I'll touch more on that shortly. Get In Where You Fit In was a huge step up from Shorty the Pimp. Here's where the chemistry happened in production. The Dangerous Crew, Ant Banks, and QD3. 13 tracks. My standouts: Don't Fight the Intro. Now this song was not on the clean version. I'm a Player, which is a classic song. Just Another Day, still a heat rock. Money in the Ghetto. Now, the next three songs, Blowjob Betty, All My Bees Are Gone, and The Dangerous Crew, were also not on the clean version. Playboy Short, Way Too Real, and It's All Good. Cocktails, released January 24th, 1995. So here's the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with this one. It's way better than Shorty the Pimp, but it also has a lot of misses on it also. Now I would say it's not my favorite Too Short album, but it's not as wackest. The songs that slap, slap. And the live instruments are bar none. Overall, it's a solid album. I just don't run back to it. Production was handled entirely by Ant Banks, and you can hear his signature sound on it. 12 tracks, my standouts, Ain't Nothing Like Pimpin', Cocktails. Now for those that don't know, this was a remake of Freaky Tales off the Born to Mac album. Can I Get a B? Gotta Keep It Clean, featuring Ant Banks. Coming Up Short, Top Down, We Do This, featuring Tupac, MC Breed, and Father Don. Oh, and an honorable mention, Sample the Funk. Here we have album number 10, Getting It, released May 21st, 1996. This was supposed to be his retirement album, but we all know he fooled us because he couldn't stop rapping. Now, I remember when this album dropped like it was yesterday. The single, Getting It, was ringing bells out here in the streets. The hook was catchy and the beat was knocking. Classic song. So what are you saying, Todd? Now, I haven't said this yet about any of his albums, but this one might just be his classic, in my opinion. Leave it in the comments what you think. My standouts, the whole album, with the exception of the last three songs. But I'll go through my favorites. Like I mentioned earlier, Getting It, Surviving the Game, That's Why. Now this song is where he addresses the beef with Drew Down and the Loonies. Bad Ways, F My Car, Take My B, Gotta Keep It Clean, Buy You Some, featuring Eric Sermon, You Remind Me of My Fat Gold Chain, Pimp Me, featuring Goldie, Cool Ace, and Sir Captain. This song was nuts. Nasty Rhymes, and Never Talk Down, featuring Rappin' Forte and MC Breed. Now after a 3-year hiatus, Too Short dropped Can't Stay Away, released July 13th, 1999. After taking years off from putting out a project, I can't be mad at this one. It did have some heat on it, and it was a decent, solid return. Production was all over the place though. You had Lil Jon, Jazzy Faye, Jermaine Dupri, Eric Sermon, Ant Banks, and Diamond D, just to name a few. 11 tracks, 1 intro, 1 bonus track. My standouts, Can't Stay Away, Ain't No Bees, Gotta Keep It Clean, Don't Stop Rapping, featuring A-Ball and MJG. Now, side note, the better version of this song was on 8Ball's Lost album on the 3rd disc, titled Can't Stop Rapping. If you know, you know. If not, look it up and leave your thoughts in the comments. More Freaky Tales, You Might Get G'd, featuring E40, Daz Dillinger, and Superfly. Longevity, featuring Scarface and KB. What Happened to the Groupies, featuring Be Legit, and the Invasion of the Flat Booties. On September 12th, 2000, Too Short dropped You Nasty. This is another one of my favorite Too Short albums. He took it back to the basics on this one. And to me, this one is up there with Getting It. I know it's not a classic, but it's an absolute knocker. I understand that might be an unpopular opinion, but I said what I said. Production was handled by Ant Banks, Eric Sermon, Too Short, and Polo the Don. 14 tracks, all heat. My standouts, Anything Is Possible, You Nasty, Pimp-ish, featuring Cocaine, Just Like Dope, featuring E40, Call Me Daddy, Recognize Game, featuring China White, She Know, featuring the Nation Riders, All the Time, Where They At, featuring Captain Save 'Em, Don't Hate the Player, and Be My Dirty Love. This was another knocker. And that wraps things up for this episode. Remember, this was only part 1, where I'm breaking down his 90s run. I will do a part 2 soon on his 2000s catalog. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I have more content coming soon, so stay tuned. Till next time.